Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie, I am the Introverted Reader. Today's video is just going to be a wee short, casual little book tag. And yes, I'm wearing wicked pajamas. Because I couldn't be annoyed getting changed. And two, I just wanted to be cozy. So, sound off. Like this video if you're wearing your pajamas too. But anyway. So we're doing a fun little, just casual book tag today. It is called the 54321 book tag, which I found on where I get all my book tags, the ZZ with Books blog. I'll leave a link to it in the description, but you'll get the gist as we go along here. So I've got the questions here next to me. So yeah, let's start by taking a wee drink. Take a drink of something first. Anyway, let's go. So 54321 book tag. So we're gonna go down 5, okay? From 5. So first, 5 books you love. I have them right here. The first book, The Vampire Lestat. I love this, okay? I read Interview with a Vampire years ago when I was a teenager. My cousin lent me her copy. And listen, I'm going to be honest, I didn't like the book Interview with a Vampire. It was really slow. I hated Louis. And then my cousin was like, but you need to read this. And then years later, I was listening to the audiobook for this whilst, traveling, like sitting on a plane, doing my breathing exercises to calm my anxiety and listening to this book. Basically, this is Lestat's story. This is his how he became a vampire and everything that he did after, and he's wonderful. I love him, and he was honestly the best thing about Interview with a Vampire. I'm not gonna lie to you. And this right here engrossed me. Like, I adored this. I devoured this whole entire thing. I haven't read any more within this world. I tried reading Queen of the Damned, but then something happened in Queen of the Damned that triggered me really bad. So I'm kind of scared to go back into this, but would I reread this? Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you're a fan of vampires and you're just like, what vampire classics do I need to get into? I would... This. Okay? Forget about Dracula. Read Lestat. Dracula can kick rocks. Ugh, I said what I said. Okay, so there's that. And then moving on, I also have City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. This whole entire trilogy, the David trilogy, I feel like I do not talk about the David trilogy enough on this channel. And I really, really should, because this whole entire trilogy is so beautiful. It's so... what are the words to describe it? It's this beautiful fantasy type world about this girl, and she lives in Cairo in Egypt, right? She's made her living there, and she's basically a little bit of a con artist, and telling people false fortunes and stuff like that. And then one day during while she's giving a reading, she accidentally sets free a djinn, and this djinn just appears, and she's like, what the hell? And and then the two of them sort of end up he is from this whole other place, and they end up having to travel together, and that's the basis of it. It's been a while since I've read it, but listen, let me tell you, the characters in this, I would die for. I'm not kidding. Like, it is quite political, but it wasn't one of those political fantasies where I was bored. I was like, no, I actually understand what's happening. You're not just throwing a bunch of jargon at me. I actually get what's going on. Because there's this whole magical city with all these like different types of people living in there, and not every single person that lives within that city has the same rights as everybody else. And there's all these like uprisings and like who should be able to rule, and and, you know, discusses like colonization and everything else. And it's just, if you have not read this, I actually was in work last week and I spotted a customer, you know, I was doing my thing, clearing tables, whatever, and I spotted a customer reading this, and the way I wanted to go over so bad and be like, I love this. This was so good. And listen, if you're a fantasy type of person and this looks like something that you would, you would love this. And she's also the author of the Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi, which I also love. So just throwing her out there, honorary mention. Now we're going to the YA contemporary route now, and then we're going to talk about Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. This was so beautiful. This is a story about our main character, Frances, and you know, she is a student at school. She's head girl or a prefect or something, I believe. You know, very high achiever. She's like, I'm going to finish school, I'm going to go to university, and I'm going to study really hard. I'm going to be the top of my class. Like, she has ambition. You know, she's a study bug. She's academic. And you know, she she has that side of her, you know, while she's in school, but outside of school, when she's at home and she's by herself, you know, she goes on to Tumblr and she follows this web series called Radio Silence. And, you know, she really wants to meet the creator of it is really mysterious. Like, no one really knows who he is. But then she meets this boy called Alid, who is the sweetest little cinnamon roll you'll ever meet. And he's a little bit of an outcast, but the two of them bond and they become best friends. And then this is just such a gorgeous story about friendship that and it honestly, I remember I read this a couple years ago. Do you remember when I did that video where I read the 3 Alice Oseman books in the space of a week? This was one of them. I can't remember when exactly, but I'm sure I'll find the video somewhere on my channel. But this one out of the 3 of them that I read was my favorite. This was so beautiful. It was so moving. And I really want Alice Oseman to write more full-length novels like this, please, Alice. Thank you. I would love that. Thank you. And the next one, again, is a contemporary. Would this be young adult? I guess so. I mean, it's Boy Like Me by Simon James Green. And I could have mentioned any other book by Simon at all. You know, I have all of his books up there on the top shelf behind me. You know I love Uncle Simon. You know we love Uncle Simon in this house. But this one I just randomly picked, I guess, because this is probably the most beautiful and poignant story from Simon that I've ever read. Like, there's a lot of his stories, yes, that get me in the feelings. But this one is set in 1994. I was 2, just you know, putting that out there. You know, Section 28 is rampant throughout the UK, and it's centered around this teenage boy who discovers himself throughout this novel. He, you know, because of Section 28, lots of books were, it's hitting home a little bit now because stuff like this is happening right now. Lots of books featuring any sort of anything, you know, gay or whatever was, you know, deemed illegal and stuff like that. And then he finds a book in the library, which is a story about 2 boys falling in love, and he sees himself in the book. And he comes back again to find that someone has written a message in the margin of the book, and he writes a little message back to this person, and they start a little correspondence, the 2 of them. And like, this has got a lot of heavy themes running through it, because obviously it's at a time where lots of gay people were having to like hide in the shadows, because if they were to step out and if anybody got a whiff of who they truly were, it could have been life-threatening, really. At the end of the day, that's what it is. And this was so beautiful, and I would urge every person, I don't care if you're a part of the queer community or not, you have to read this. Especially if you're a queer person, actually, but read this. It's so beautiful. I have a review for it on my channel, again, somewhere. I'll try and find it, But yeah, there's that. And then the last one I want to talk about is Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. I did a buddy read with this a couple years ago with a friend of mine on here, and we both were just weeping like hysterical. It matches my jammies. It matches my jammies. Anyway, yeah, this is a story about a main character. What is his name? What is his Wallace. I was worried his name was Victor. I was like, I don't want to think about anybody named Victor right now. So our main character Wallace, and he dies at the beginning of this book. He has a heart attack, and then he comes back sort of as a ghost to his own funeral, and he's thinking to himself, oh, everybody in my life loved me. You know, all my colleagues thought I was great. Like, my wife loved me. We had a great relationship. Like, I was a good person and all this. And then he's at his funeral, and his wife was talking about how he was a terrible husband, how he, you know, never made any effort with her on their honeymoon. He worked, and his work colleagues were all like, honestly, he was a little bit of an asshole. Like, he wasn't very nice. He never made any effort to be friends with us and all this. And he's really quite shocked by this, but then he finds himself at this tea shop, this place right here, in the middle of this forest, and it's run by a man called Hugo. Sorry, I had to refresh my of the name. Hugo, and the tea shop is basically it's sort of like a gateway almost between the living world and the afterlife, whatever that would mean for you. And Wallace isn't the only ghost that's there. There's other ghosts there too. And it's basically a story of like, you know, if you were to like pass away, would you be able to look back on your life and say, yeah, I did good, or yes, I was a good person? And if you were given the chance to live again, would you and do better? And it's just beautiful. Cried while reading this. I read it on my Kindle the first time I read it, and I've been meaning to reread it, and I really want to tab and highlight it, so I might do that in the near future. But anyway, there's that. Sorry that was a bit long, but I like talking about books that I love, let me say. Okay, so the next one, four auto-buy authors. Well, I've named some of them there. TJ Klune, Simon James Green, Shannon Chakraborty, and just one off the top of my head, Kerry Maniscalco. That's 4. There's definitely more where that came from, but those are the ones off the top of my head, and I've been talking for long enough. Right, let's see. 3 favorite genres. Okay, well, fantasy is the main one, and all the little subgenres that come with that. I enjoy queer, young adult, contemporary, if you couldn't tell, so that's 2. And another one, I guess, would be, that's really all I read, like fantasy and contemporary young adult books that are queer. And would comic books count as a genre? Or like graphic novels, would they count as a genre? I don't know if they would or not. 3 favorite genres. I mean, fantasy in general, and I guess if I were to name fantasy subgenres, that would probably be the romantasy, urban fantasy, and young adult contemporary, and especially if it's gay. So, let me know that. Let me see. Oh, I enjoy historical fiction as well sometimes. 2 places you read. 2 places that I read. Well, I tend to just read on my bed over there. It's behind you. That's really where I tend to do most of my reading. Sometimes I like to read if I'm coming home from work on the bus, but I'm not on the bus every day. So either I'm reading on my bed or I'm reading in an armchair, or this chair that I'm sitting on. And the last one book I promise to read soon. All of them. You're balanced on it right now. I can't show it to you, but The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. I promise to read that book soon. I'm listening to Skandar and the Unicorn Thief at the moment, and I will listen to The Fellowship of the Ring as well. Well, I can't. There is another one that I promised to read soon, and I'm just gonna put this as an honorary mention: Frankenstein, because I'm obsessed with that film. I'm obsessed. I've watched that Guillermo del Toro masterpiece 4 times already. 4 times. Like, I did a review for it on my channel if you want to go and watch it. It's the last video that I filmed before this one. Anyway, so that is it for this video. I meant for it to be short, but I've been sitting here yapping for ages. So yeah, I will leave the link to this tag down below, and let me know in the comments, what is one book that you're going to promise us here and now that you're going to read soon? What is it? What is it? What is it? Let us know. Anyway, I'm going to go. I've been yapping your ear off for long enough now. So all my socials are down below as always, the link to the tag, everything. And subscribe if you haven't already. Give us a like so the algorithm knows you like me. And yeah, I'll see you later. Bye.